Welcome to No Such Thing as a Bad Movie podcast. I'm April Atmansky, and I'm here today with...
Ho, 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 Justin DeClue.
What is this? Is this a holiday? Wait. Oh yeah, this is a holiday movie.
Christmas movie in
Christmas
August.
in August.
Wait, and I'm Colin Cunningham.
All right, technically this is a Christmas movie, but it's not Christmas for like most
It
of
just
the,
happens
like,
to
it happens
be
to be at Christmas, but it's
If
not
I had
like
to
a
take
Christmas
a guess,
movie.
I think it's because they probably shot in the fall, and there's some scenes with snow on the ground, so they're like, let's just say it's Christmas, and that's why there's some snow on the ground sometimes.
So this movie is called The Brain. And it's from 1988, right?
Yep.
And I love that it's such a simple title, right? It's not like Brain from Beyond the, pod people or whatever. It's just The Brain.
And you hear that title, and you look at the poster, and you're like, there better be a big killer brain in this, hopefully with eyes, mouth, and a nose. Well, you're in luck.
That eats people.
Yeah, and hopefully I don't have to wait to the second shot in the movie to see it.
Yeah. Well, he evolves, though, into eaten brain.
Yeah, that's true.
So this was a pick by one of our Patreon members. It's our Bad Movie Lottery pick. So for those who don't know, if you are on the Patreon, if you subscribe to our Patreon at the $2 level and up, you get submitted into a lottery to pick an episode for the main feed every couple of months. So our winner was named Eric Marchin, and he gave us a couple options, and this was one of them. And I was happy to pick The Brain because we've actually seen The Brain before.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
our history is
Where'd you guys see it?
a long, long time ago. I believe, Justin, you played this at the Royal.
I did indeed.
Yeah, it was
at
after...
Laser Blast Film Society, we played it.
It was after a screening of Teddy Bomb, your first movie.
Oh, that's
right.
That is available
I totally
on-
forgot about that.
It's on Gold Ninja Video, I'm guessing.
Yep, goldenninjavideo.com.
So what happened was you played that, and I had never seen it before, and I was like, this is amazing. And then there was a break, I don't know how long, but we went and had drinks, and then we came back and watched The Brain, and I'm pretty
Right.
sure, Colin, you fell asleep.
Yeah.
But I saw it, and I was like, this is amazing. But then years later, I think in 2021, we just watched it.
We
at
rewatched
home.
it,
Yeah.
so,
And I was like, this is pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It's like set in Toronto or Mississauga. I should
Mississauga.
say.
Yeah, very
Is
Canadian.
that's technically part of the GTA, right?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's,
Yeah, right.
It's not.
Recently, a film was playing, and it's like, it's opening in Toronto. And I was like, sweet, what theater? Markham. That's not Toronto.
Markham is even closer than Mississauga, isn't
Hey,
it?
Toronto.
Yeah, I know. It's like I guess it's like a New York, like New Jersey situation.
Yeah, if it's not on the like TTC subway line,
Yeah.
then I don't consider it. Like, if I have to switch bus lines, no, it ain't
Yeah.
Toronto.
What about North York?
That's kind of where I live. So, yeah, it's Toronto. That's on the bus line.
As long as I'm there, it's Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Home is where my heart is.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what do we know about this director, Ed Hunt?
Ed Hunt, he didn't direct much after this, but he directed Bloody
He's like,
Birthday
I've said
Bloody Birthday.
everything I have to say.
with the brain.
I've seen.
Yeah.
Wait, Bloody Birthday is about the three kids.
The three kids, yeah.
Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah.
Not a great movie, but I mean, it's fun.
Yeah, I think he directed only two things after this, and I.
Yeah,
never heard
well,
of
one
them.
of them is a video game, The Jungle Book, The
Oh.
New Adventures of Mowgli.
He directed a
no.
video game. Okay.
Okay.
And, well, that's probably, if I had to guess, it was probably in the full motion, short interactive movie with no dialogue.
The FMV.
Ugh.
Oh.
Yeah, poor person who got a copy of that. And a film called Halloween Hell in 2014.
Yeah, that's the Mowgli thing is the type of DVD that you get in like cereal or something. At the bottom
Yeah,
of your like
exactly.
Cheerios.
He was pretty prolific in, like, I mean, his first movie is the late 60s, 69, The Freudian Thing.
Yeah.
He is an LA-based director, not a Canadian, even though you would
No.
think, because he did direct a bunch of films in Canada. He directed the amazing-sounding UFOs Are Real from 1979, an episode of Greatest Heroes of the Bible. That sounds like they're fighting. In
The
that TV
greatest
show.
heroes of the Bible.
Yeah.
The biblical Avengers.
Is
Yeah.
Sodom and Gomorrah some of the greatest heroes of the Bible? I don't think so.
I couldn't tell you.
Weren't they
And then
cities?
I think his most infamous movie is probably like Starship Invasions from 1977.
Yikes.
'Cause
Never
that one
heard of it.
had like Christopher Lee in it, Robert Vaughn.
Oh.
And it's about like aliens again. I think it's shot in Canada as well.
Did a lot of alien stuff. Clearly, is interested in sci-fi. So this movie, it's a sci-fi movie, but it's also kind of like your classic like horror movie starring horny teenagers.
Yeah, from the 50s. It's like a throwback to those kind of movies.
It almost feels like that,
Yeah.
for right down to the car that the lead actor drives. It's like this 1950s whatever.
Yes.
Chevy or something like that.
With Ontario license plates.
Yeah. And he's kind of wearing the leather jacket, but I don't know.
I'm looking at the tagline of this movie, mind over matter. That doesn't really mean anything.
That doesn't even make sense.
No.
Because the mind is how it controls you. It should be matter over mind.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's talking about from the brain's perspective.
Okay, in that
It
case...
should be
Mind
called
is
like,
over
this
matter.
brain will eat you will be the tagline of the brain.
It does. Yeah, it does eat people.
So this movie, it starts off like really, really strong. And this is actually my favorite scene in the movie. With a character that we don't get to meet.
We're introduced to the Psychological Research Institute, the PRI,
Yes.
which is a very, very fun-looking building. I thought it was the IBM building in Scarborough.
Well,
but it's
if you look at IMDb, the exact address is written on it, which I've never seen before.
Yeah, it's the Xerox R&D building in Mississauga, and it looks like a spaceship. It's got-
2660
cool looking.
Speakman Drive, Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. Now, if I had to guess that, because the exact addresses are on this IMDb page, I
Yeah.
may put it at the feet of a pal of mine, Jay Clark, who is brain fan number one, to the point that he bought the surviving giant practical brain that
What?
he has in his living room.
How
Yep.
big is that thing?
Whoa.
It's only the front face of it, so it's
Okay.
like all the details and stuff like that. So you can mount it on a wall, kind of like, like the jaws of a shark.
Okay.
It's the size it is in the movie. It's like takes up a whole wall.
Like
Yeah,
the
it-
big one?
Yeah, the big one.
Holy
my
crap.
God. But didn't they blow it up? I guess
So
that
that's
was
what I
a
said. Like it's like the front facing. So probably like the mound of the brain, like the because it was probably very disposable, but like the detailed kind of front piece is
Yeah.
what he
Yeah.
has.
It's the kind of whenever you see like flashes of it, that's coming
that
towards
thing
the
like
camera.
coming out of the dark, like
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
How could you
That's
have that in
basically
your
what he
living
has.
room? I'd be freaking out.
That's great. I thought I'd be more impressed if it was the entire thing because this thing is gigantic by the end of the
No,
movie.
he doesn't have. I mean, where would he put it? Like in the basement, I
Well,
guess.
you wouldn't.
Like-
How would you get into your front door? It's too big.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's massive.
That's crazy.
And this science lab is run by David Gale, who played another mad doctor in Reanimator, Jeffrey Combs' nemesis in it.
Yeah,
it's
and this
kind of the same character.
kind of yeah. He does some really good head acting at the end of this
Yeah.
movie.
Like he got typecast.
Just
as-
like he does, yeah, in
as- as
Reanimator.
a head.
He's the best in the biz.
All he really did was play like evil scientist. Reanimator, Bride of Reanimator, The Guyver. He's
He
also
did-
like an evil mad
I know,
scientist.
but he just has one of those faces that you can't that's all he should play. He's not going to play the love interest or whatever. I looked him up and I didn't know anything really about him, but he died not long after this. So it was like 91 he died, and he was only 54. He was my age when he shot this movie.
Ooh, complications from open heart surgery.
Yeah.
He looks like he's
That's sad.
75. It's,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, he
insane.
looks a lot older than one Colin Cunningham looks right now.
It was just, I was shocked. I'm like, oh my God.
But you're eternally youthful as
Am I,
always.
April?
No, it's gonna happen, April. You're gonna wake up one morning, and Colin's gonna look like he chose poorly. Like it's gonna happen instantly.
happening to me? And then she's going to push me away. I'm going to smash against
Turn
the
to
wall.
dust.
Then like this Nazi badge. What the hell?
Oh my God, I didn't know
Colin was a
this.
Nazi the entire time.
Anyway,
I mean, your townhouse is pretty big. There could be like a secret hidden room of like
we could fit a
all-
brain.
I was gonna say Colin's Nazi memorabilia.
Like the Nazi lab or something.
I thought you were gonna say one of the brains.
And there's a brain in there too.
Yeah.
I am a Nazi brain.
Yeah, I'm trying to rule the world. Don't you know?
It's one of those brains, but with the Nazi hat, like
Yeah.
the helmet.
Just so you're clear.
And like an armband, but just around his chest. So you know what it
It's
is.
just
Well,
like
because the
it's just
brain-
like a big belt.
This brain is just a big
Sphere.
circle. Yeah, he's got a tail. Or the guy goes, "It's not a tail, you idiot. It's a spine. It's a spinal cord."
Oh yeah, it's a brain, not an animal.
Oh,
I'm like, oh,
man,
I'm sorry.
we're so far off. Oh yeah, first
know.
scene of the movie.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a teenage girl who's just like in her bedroom, and she's hallucinating, and her mom, is watching
Yeah.
the TV downstairs,
So
which is
Dr. Gale?
Yeah, which is the
Not Dr.
the
Gale,
David
Dr.
Gale
Blake.
David Gale public access show.
It's called Independent Thinking.
Yeah, which is brainwashing the residents of this small town, Meadowvale, I guess.
Now this feels real public access TV show. Did you guys watch a lot of public access when you were a kid?
I did, yeah.
No,
It's
I never did.
Rogers Cable 10.
Yep.
That's how
It still exists because I know that the Patreon who won this, because I know of this fellow, he's very nice and he's invited me on his show. He has a public access movie show.
Oh.
That like you do in a studio and there's like 2 camera people. It's like, go.
That's amazing.
Film. We're done. Yep.
Yeah, we used to watch. That's how we discovered like Tom Green and stuff like that.
That's right. He was a Rogers guy, right?
Yeah. So he'd just show up, and everybody would start like, "Have you seen this Tom Green show?" I'm like, what?
I think I just clicked past it, but
Yeah, me too.
I was more of a TVO fan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Television Ontario.
There was
Yeah.
a great. I think it was called 10 Forward. It was like that
no.
Star Trek
The Colin show.
Yeah, so it was like this man and a woman. They would dress in like Star Trek uniforms. And it was
Oh,
like,
no.
but it was a
Yeah.
call-in show, and you can just look it up on YouTube.
They're like Found Footage Fest has posted about it.
Yeah.
Oh, it still exists? Wait, so it was
No,
a local
no.
Toronto show?
There's clips. Of
Yeah,
it.
but you can see the clips on YouTube. It's like a kind of super cut of all the time. People would just call in to swear on
Yeah,
the
and
the
call them
college show.
like fucking nerds and stuff.
Yeah, but it's but they would always lead with like an innocent. On episode number 3, when Mr. Spock was go fuck yourself,
And then they would just be like, okay, on to the next
but they
one.
would be
Why
so.
would you do? I would never do a call-in show like that. What a
Oh.
nightmare that sounds
But
like.
they were. You can see it's so funny. There's one clip where the caller says something very innocuous, so that you can just see the guy's finger move to like the hang up button, just hovering over it, and he's like, "Okay, go on," because he knows. He'd have like this sixth sense of like picking up, who's gonna.
Yeah, there's a lot of clips on Retro Ontario.
Yeah,
posted
yeah.
a bunch of 10 Forward clips.
But yeah, that's cool that Eric has his own show. I did not know that.
Yeah, he does.
I can't remember the other films he recommended, but I'm pretty sure they were all Canadian or a lot of some.
Yeah,
some
X
of them
versus
were.
Sever, that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
Vancouver one.
That's true.
Yeah.
So do you think he has his own brain and he's trying to take over the world with us promoting?
Oh,
this?
you think
Could
that
be,
like we're just a
conduit.
tentacle of his that by
Yeah.
talking about this,
Yeah.
the brain itself is the signal. No, just like that happens at the opening scene of this movie when the girl is driven insane. She stabs her own mother and then jumps out the window.
Yeah,
well,
I
jumps,
mean-
it's pushed by the brain.
Yeah. Before that, she just like is seeing like brain tentacles like come out of the walls like everywhere. And yes, it's low budget, but it's well executed. It's fun.
Yeah.
The walls start closing.
Yeah, the walls.
in. Yeah,
like,
the walls
push
start
it.
closing
It's
in.
really was like a Nightmare on Elm Street scene.
Yeah, it's like a very low budget Nightmare on Elm Street
Yeah,
scene.
and I
then-
mean, she jumps out the window, and I love it when characters jump out windows. I don't know. I don't know why. I'm just a sucker for
You
that
love-
in movies.
There's a word for this, April. Defenestration.
Defenestration. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
well aware. So that's definitely my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's very inventive, and they have like a lot of. I especially like the high angle shot of the
Yeah.
room kind of shrinking and stuff like that. And then like the brain comes out of like her mirror.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. You can like see into the mirror, and then it comes out and kind of pushes her.
I
out.
love that it's like, wait, so is the brain physically there? These are probably just all psychic.
These are all hallucinations
projections.
because
Yeah.
the very first shot of the movie, other than the exterior of the PRI, is the brain itself.
Yeah.
It's in a big jar. So you see this thing right away, and then it kind of pans over to like a satellite dish on the top of a van. So it's insinuated right away that it's the brain that's projecting.
I love that the brain is like, it's shown later on to have psychic powers as well. Like it can move things with its mind.
telekinetic abilities.
Telekinetic.
Seemingly.
But it also just eats people. So it has
Yeah.
all of these abilities.
It has
It's just
no
a lot
stomach.
of things.
It's just a big ball, but same with like Audrey too, right? It's like where are those people going?
Digested and then, I don't know, vomited
Yeah.
out. We
Yeah.
don't see it. It was cut from the
No, it's
movie.
every atom in their body is used to make this thing grow bigger. There's no
Yeah,
waste.
because doesn't it when
Yeah.
it eats, well, it eats a lot of people. It doesn't really grow. It grows bigger once,
Yeah.
and then it's like, we ain't building another one. So
Yeah, it's
just imagine it's
I
getting
thought
bigger.
it slowly got bigger throughout the whole movie.
No,
Is it
it's-
just the end?
it just eats that one scientist lady and then gets
And then it grows.
It's yeah.
really
its
big.
eyes, nose, and mouth.
But by the end of the movie, it's like the size of a wall, and it starts off like the size of a I don't know, like 3 basketballs maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't even have a face. It's kind of just like a little thing in a jar. I love the little like laboratory set that they have.
I know, and it looks so cheap, but I love it. Like it has charm.
It's got all like the red and green lighting and stuff like that. It looks it's pretty funny. But the I keep saying Dr. Gale, David Gale. He's got this like sidekick. He's one of the nurses. And he's like this big brute with a beard.
Oh, I love that guy. He's my favorite thing. This guy rules.
George Buza, I think that's how you
Bauza?
pronounce it. Buza.
He has so many credits.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
He-
173
He's like a Canadian TV
He's a Canadian,
legend,
guy.
Even
Like,
though
if you
he's
need,
actually
like-
not born in Canada, but that's okay.
He played Santa in A Christmas Horror Story from 2015.
That's
He's got
right.
Santa vibes. He's also been able to make a good career as a voice actor in
Yes.
Canadian stuff.
Yeah.
If people don't know, if you watch stuff like the X-Men and things like that, and you're like, why does everybody have Canadian accent? It's because we're non-union when it comes to voice acting in Canada. And that's
Yeah.
why Saban loved coming here to do voices.
Yeah. So like Sailor Moon,
Oh, did he do the original?
dub. He was
he was
Beast.
Beast.
He
in
was
X-Men.
Beast. Oh,
Yeah.
man, his voice rules
Yeah,
as Beast.
I was like,
Yeah.
because I watched that show.
But
that
I knew, I
cartoon.
recognized him like, holy shit, that guy looks really
Did they
familiar.
try to get a guy that looks like Beast? That's how he got the role? He's like...
Well, maybe he didn't have that big beard, and it's like a goatee. It's like a mustache and
I mean,
a beard.
it looks like he's had it his
He
entire
still
career.
has it.
Yeah, the big beard.
The only
Okay.
time he doesn't have it that I've seen pictures of him in is in the Maniac Mansion TV show.
He was in that too?
He was the grown-up kid.
I never watched Maniac Mansion.
Okay, so that was a show. It was quote unquote based on the LucasArts
yeah,
game.
not really.
So I think we talked about it on another episode, but I was so excited that it was coming out, and it was starring like Joe Flaherty and a bunch of SCTV people.
It was an SCTV show, basically.
Yeah, kind of. Had nothing to do, like almost nothing
yeah, I
to
think
do with
you've
the game.
explained this to me before.
Yeah, but he played the little baby, and he gets zapped by something, and he grows up.
So he's like a man baby?
He's like a man baby, and he's
Uh-huh.
clean shaven, and he looks very strange. And I was like, that's
Man,
how I
what
recognize
a
him.
career, though. Isn't that the kind of career you would want if you're an actor? You're just in like a million things.
Well, like,
Oh, yeah.
name a Canadian TV show he's been on it. Like, a cartoon
Friday
and
the
adult.
13th, he's on it.
Like,
Uh,
Relic Hunter.
Relic Hunter, yep.
I looked at it earlier.
he was
but,
even in an
Degrassi.
episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
I was
the
probably
Canadian
shot here.
Twilight
And
Zone.
a Twilight Zone. And,
He was in a
yeah.
Snake Eater movie. Nah, Canada's action franchise.
Isn't that
starring
with the,
someone we don't talk about who is not Canadian.
it's
Lorenzo Lamas.
Oh, I thought we were
He's
going
a
to
big
say
Trump guy.
Bolo Young, but he's a Tiger
No.
Claws.
That's
That's
Tiger
Tiger
Claw.
Okay,
Claws.
all right, never mind.
We talk about Jahal Mary, star of the Tiger Claw franchise.
We got to do
Oh,
a
yeah.
Tiger Claws on the show.
we haven't done a Tiger Claw.
Or did
Here's
we
a-
do a Jahal
here's a
Mary?
dollar.
No, I don't think we have.
Here's
I
a
don't think
dollar.
so.
Go see
My
a
good
Star
friend
Wars.
Jahal Mary. Whoa, he wasn't even in the. He was even in the Strain. God, what a career.
Yeah, 170 something credits.
With the Guillermo del Toro one.
Uh huh.
Wow.
And yeah,
Like,
still
is
acting.
it illegal to make a show without him?
Probably.
Hey,
yeah.
we're doing Mutant X. We gotta have the guy that's in it.
Yeah, you got to have him, and then you have to shoot an exterior at the water treatment plant.
But this guy had a cameo in the X-Men 2000 movie as well.
He did.
He was a trucker.
Oh,
Probably
shit.
at the beginning scene, I'm guessing, with Wolverine. I'm guessing.
Oh, when
'cause
he picks up
I
Anna
think,
Paquin.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think so, but I haven't seen it in so long. That had to be like a hey, you were on the X-Men
Yeah,
cartoon. Like,
yeah.
let's get you in
Whoa,
this movie.
he also returned to the show that for some reason hasn't come out yet, that X-Men 97 reboot where they're doing a continuation of the 90s X-Men cartoon. He's returning to do the voice of Beast.
Oh, that's
shit.
awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look out for that.
Still working to this day.
Anyway,
And
he's
in this movie, he barely says anything.
But when he's on screen, though, he's pretty scary.
Yeah, he's
he's a big menacing guy.
yeah, he's a brute. But he's wearing this like nurse's outfit. You wouldn't want
He's
him
wearing, like, a
like
lab coat.
like an orderly.
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay, so we need to introduce our main character, Jake. Is that his
I
name?
think his name is Jim.
Jim. I'm sorry.
An old man who's clearly failed 3-4 times graduating from high school.
This is one of those.
He's a cutie.
Yeah, this is
He's
one of those
24 years
movies
old, I
where
checked.
it's like all the teenagers,
yeah.
I'm making finger quotes, are a little too old to be in high school.
That was the way in the 90s and,
Sure.
and 80s.
But it's set up like so he's driving this 1950s like Chevy or something like that. Like he's supposed to be some rebel, and like
Yeah.
if they went even further, he'd have a pompadour and he'd
He's
be
a-
a
he's a
greaser.
Zach
He's a
Morris.
rebel who does stuff like put pure sodium in the toilet.
Yeah,
He has a Zach
Whoa.
Morris thing going on.
It's so bizarre. It's like they set him up like this rebel, and the parents are called to the school and stuff. But like all of his pranks are so like juvenile.
Yeah.
he puts like
It's like a cherry bomb, only it's sodium.
Yeah, it's sodium.
Chekhov's sodium, because that is going to come back at the end.
Oh,
of the
that's
movie.
right. That may be the weakness of a
Yeah.
certain brain.
I don't know a lot about sodium. I know that salt is sodium chloride.
Yes.
So what the fuck is just pure sodium, and how do you get it?
Pure sodium.
April wants to start
I
dropping
took-
it in public toilets left and
I
right.
took chemistry in high school, and sodium is very explosive when you expose it to water.
But sodium sodium
Oh, really?
chloride we eat all the time?
Well, yeah, I mean,
don't drink any water when you're having salt. You'll explode, April. You
yeah,
know that,
I mean,
right?
we can.
no.
It's just that's a chemical reaction. That's a whole other compound that's formed by sodium and chlorine.
Did you guys ever pull pranks in high school?
No.
No, I was a good girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You're all good children.
As soon as I found out about sodium, it was fucking down the toilet all the time.
Exploding.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, back in Collins days, I'm sure you could buy
A big brick of it.
no, I was gonna say like dynamite down at the local store,
Oh,
like
yeah.
cherry bombs and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like all your watches had like radium in them and stuff like that to make them glow.
You're like licking the walls that are covered in lead paint.
Hey, our high school had asbestos.
I remember.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure they all
our
did.
high schools had
Yeah.
asbestos.
But the police cars in Toronto used to be yellow. It was like this really bright. It was like almost like canary or cadmium yellow or something like that. And it was lead. And we actually made that in chemistry class. We like mixed these chemicals. It was like lead and something else. And then the teacher's like, "What does that color remind you of?" It's like, that's police cars.
Lead paint.
So they had to change.
Healthy lead yellow.
Yeah, so apparently the lead would leach out of the paint when it rained, and so they ended up painting them white. Now they're white.
Oh.
Yeah, true story. But yeah, so
True
I look it up
story.
on YouTube. They have videos of people with big chunks of sodium. The guy's like throwing it in a lake, and they're fucking explosive. Like it just goes
Whoa.
boom.
Okay, so well, he thought it was a funny idea to do this, and then
But kids, if you're listening to this, it's not a good thing to do.
Yeah.
No, and the movie
As the movie
will
will
tell you
warn
this
you
at
at
the
the
end.
end.
Yeah, it was just a goof. It wasn't real, so don't do that. But so I guess it was a big deal enough to they'll be like, you think you're funny? No, you think you're smart, funny guy? You're not gonna graduate. And he's like, you can't do this because he has like straight A's.
I'm
Well, his-
24 years old.
Well,
Yeah.
his girlfriend is doing all of his work for him.
Oh, is she? I missed that.
Yeah, that's a
I missed that.
Yeah,
joke
he meets her
earlier
for the
on.
first time in the hallway, and he's like, "Didn't you have the work?" And she's like, "I'm gonna get in trouble too if you get caught."
Boy, well, I thought he was some genius. Like he gets into fucking Princeton at the end of this movie.
He's putting like shoe goo. So like, there's a meeting with his parents when they come to the school with the principal, and then they
Shoe goo.
decide to like enlist him in this PRI.
Well, they're
this-
making him go to the brainwashing center as a psychological treatment
yeah for his whatever antisocial.
for being a
behavior-
prankster. That's
behavior,
it.
I guess. So then, like, yeah, the principal stands up and he has like a tube of shoe goo. This was like a stuff when I was a kid. but
Jim
it's-
does.
Yeah, and he just like squirts a big blob of it on the guy's seat, and you just it's like, okay, what do you?
That's not even a funny prank.
No,
though.
it's
And we
just
never
like-
get to see the results.
It's not going to dry fast enough. Like it just makes no sense.
It's kind of like putting sodium in the toilet. It's like, oh, you destroyed the toilets. Cool, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
great.
It doesn't.
And
There's
then-
no bigger idea, funny idea there.
And then he like dumps the sodium box in the garbage right next to one of the teachers, and then the teacher picks it up and it says like pure sodium. Do not mix with water. Explosive. Don't put it in toilet.
That should have been the tagline of this movie.
The teacher has a really funny voice. He's like, "Do not put in water."
But it's like, okay, he's like, what are you, 6? Okay, you put glue on the seat, boy.
Yeah, and I mean,
yeah, where you put a whoopee cushion right
Yeah.
after. You're like,
yeah.
Ooh, sneezing powder. Ooh,
fart powder.
fire powder.
Someone did let out a stink bomb on like the last day of school of high school in the hallway, and yeah, the whole hallway stunk.
Yeah.
Like where? What is funny about that? It's like it stinks.
Everybody
It's
had to
ugh.
like put their hands in under their shirts and stuff.
It's
and,
like I gotcha.
I have a confession to make. I was a,
Oh, no,
I
it was Colin.
It was you.
I was a real trickster when I was a kid. So,
But you just said you didn't do pranks.
I didn't do pranks in our school.
I played tricks.
I'm the trickster.
Yeah.
So we would go to. My mom would take me to Scotland every year, just for like the summer or something like that. We'd go hang out with my grandparents, and they had this amazing joke shop in Glasgow that we used to go to. So you'd get like the fake cigarette. You get these little like snapping rocks. It was like a cigarette that just had like.
I made my mom so furious once when I got one of those gums that you pull and then like a thing snaps your finger.
Oh yeah. I got one of those things, but the one
She
in-
was like, "Never do that again, ever."
Yeah, they had like the heavy duty ones in Scotland. I don't know why, but like,
yeah, it's like a rat trap with like spikes on
yeah,
it. Like,
it
why would you give it
hurts
to
so
someone?
bad.
I'm with your mom. I don't think that's funny.
No, it's awful. What was I thinking?
They had the fake cigarette, so it was just looked like a cigarette, and it was just filled with chalk, and then you'd blow, and then it would
And
like
it looks
chalk
like
would like
smoke.
come out. It looked terrible. And then they had like the like spicy candies you'd give to your friends, like have a candy. It had sneeze powder, which I would get, and then the stink bombs. And they sold them in these packets of 3, and they looked like little glass capsules.
Okay.
And then they just smelled like rotting eggs times like 1,000.
And so you let out stink bombs
From time
where?
to time. Not inside, not anywhere. I'm not a monster.
I'm a trickster.
We went to the park one time to this other school, and then it was like the boiler room door was open, and then we threw one in there.
Wow, just like in this movie.
And all the janitors came like running out, like, oh man, like.
So you went to
You're
a
like,
school you didn't even go to trick a bunch of poor people into getting stink bombed.
Sorry.
I hope you feel
Didn't
proud.
you hear, April? The janitors are the richest people that work at the school.
They are? Okay.
Yeah, just like Garbage Man.
Right.
That rumor would always go around when you're a teenager.
Yeah, they own the school.
Yeah.
That's why they have their own room, the boiler room.
So
where are we in the brain
Jim
now?
goes to is it called API?
Or the PRI, the
PRI.
Psychological Research Institute.
And so they start doing
Of independent thought.
testing on him. They put some electrodes onto his brain so he can receive brainwaves from the brain.
Well, he meets a crazy person in the hallway.
The brain.
Yeah, he meets a crazy who's maybe not so crazy.
Yeah, he's like, oh, Dr. Blake is an alien and they're going to take over.
And he's like,
blah, blah.
get away from me,
He's
dude.
like, get away from me, you filthy crazy person.
But this next scene is really just an excuse to get some TNA into the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a horror movie. I don't blame them. So we have sexy nurse, and he's like, look at the screen. And then all of a sudden, oh, whoa, her shirt's off.
Yeah.
And he's supposed
And then
to be a
she's
horny
in the
teenager.
room, and we're looking up at her from a low angle.
Yeah. So he's basically just like hallucinating, and like the screen is like not accepting brainwaves, not accepting brainwaves. Is it because he was too horny?
Yeah, I think they there's like a two-way
Too
mirror
horny,
in
too
the-
horny.
in the
Like a
room,
warning
and they-
shows up on screen.
They show behind it that the brain is there trying to like project through into his mind.
But what was the brain trying to do? Just control him?
it was trying to control him, but then
Like, what are their plans other than just taking over the Earth, right?
That's
It's
it.
like-
I mean,
yeah.
where do you go from there?
I wish there was maybe something more, like we want to put a brain in the White House, or I don't know.
President Brain. That's a sequel to this.
Well, they do have Dr. Blake says that, oh, we're going national with our TV show soon. Blah,
Yes,
blah, blah.
but
So
it
it's
doesn't
like anybody
say-
who wants power, right?
Yeah.
There's not really any end goal other than the accumulation of power.
I
Just,
guess.
I want to rule the world.
Yeah,
because I'm an
and then you rule the
alien.
world. You're like, this sucks.
I want everyone to do what I say. It's like, okay, well,
Yeah, but they kind of like say like Jim is like too strong-willed, you know.
yeah, he's kind of resisting them, and then
He's too smart and handsome
Yeah.
to be hypnotized.
yeah,
or maybe he's just too dumb.
it could be too dumb. Yeah.
I don't understand. He has straight A's.
Well, like earlier, it's like his girlfriend won't have sex with him, and so there's a plot line about losing your virginity or whatever. So when he sees the girl with no shirt on, it's supposed to be like he's too preoccupied with sex.
Yeah.
But I mean, so what happens is this. Rejection or whatever penetration of his brain causes him to start hallucinating like the girl at the beginning. So what you're
Yeah.
supposed to do, I guess, is just become compliant and just watch the TV show every week
Yeah.
and do whatever the brain says. But he starts hallucinating and freaking out. And he's running all over the place.
Yeah, it's
And wait, the woman gets eaten by the brain, and that's when
yeah.
it grows its
yeah.
face.
So the
That happens first.
Sexy scientist is like, I told you we should have you should bury this brain in the
Yeah,
backyard
don't say
or
that
something.
in front of the brain.
And then she says, I'm leaving here and wait till I tell everybody
Yeah,
what's going on.
what
and then
an
the brain's
idiot.
like, "Rawr."
Yeah.
Never do that in front of a brain.
It's just like every episode of Columbo at the beginning where they're like, I'm going to expose you and there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh,
What do
yeah.
you think they're going to do? They're gonna
Oh no, I've
murder
been
you.
murdered. Why?
Yeah, I wonder why.
So the brain swallows her up and immediately grows. Like this big face comes out of it. It's really good.
it grows a face.
Well, if
And-
no one else is going to take it, I'm going to say my favorite thing is the brain itself, like the animatronics. It was done by someone named Mark Williams.
Okay.
But it's really good. I like how even the face is very,
It's creepy.
yeah.
Like I say, it's not the most articulate.
No.
Like I said, it's no Audrey 2, but it does have scary teeth and the eyes are like creepy.
Yeah,
I'm sure that they were like, yeah, we were trying for Audrey 2 level, this Canadian shot horror film.
Maybe
as opposed to the big Frank Oz controlled production.
It's maybe like Audrey 1.1 or something. I don't know. But yeah, when you first see it, it's like kind of like these flashes. It's almost like The Exorcist, where you see the
That's exactly what it is, actually.
Is it Pazuzu, like that face in the dark?
Yeah, it does
with,
a
like,
little
the teeth?
Pazuzu-esque, yeah.
I don't know if that's supposed to be Pazuzu, but whatever.
Yeah, someone's going to be like, well, actually, it's a third lesser demon called Fafifi. And it's like, what?
Shut
I
up,
think
nerd.
it's just a creepy face.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. But yeah, it's huge. It's yeah, I was very impressed with the size of it, what they did with the whatever, probably the very, very low budget that they had for this movie.
Yeah, I wonder what the budget was. I'm sure it was pretty low.
We spent it all on the break.
Exactly.
We got nothing left.
And so Jim drives home. He starts hallucinating. His car crashes.
Oh, this is cool. Like his steering wheel comes off the car, and then this big like tentacle comes through the horn. Like,
yeah,
the center
that
of the
was
steering
cool.
wheel.
And this car flips. Like it actually crashes.
Yeah.
They had the budget to wreck a car and get a stunt driver, and it flips upside down.
Yeah, and
just
it's a classic.
Wipes out.
I was like, why is he driving this old 50s jalopy? You're like, oh, now I know.
And you also have, like, doesn't he wander around right after this? And what ends up happening is that he comes to a woman who's watching the TV show, and she goes out and kills her husband
no,
with an
that's
I
electric
think that's
chainsaw.
actually later, but he goes to the diner where his friends work.
Oh, right. And he starts hallucinating.
Yeah.
See, the thing about this movie is it's basically like we go to high school, we go back to brain laboratories. Go back to high school, go back
And we
to brain
drive around.
laboratories.
It's this continual like chase
At
scenes
this from
over
this
and
point
over.
on, unfortunately, it's kind of just chasing from one place to another,
Yeah.
and it could have been better. I don't know how to. I mean, I don't know.
There's not a
Add
lot
more
of
character development.
there's not a lot of plot
No.
to go through really.
You know
It's
what
just like-
the kind of mind control stuff made me think of was Stephen King's Tommy Knockers.
Oh, I was thinking
especially
about
like
that too.
controlling through the TV. And that came out the year before, so it feels like they would have maybe ripped that
Yeah.
off.
So there again, that scene you were talking about earlier. There's one where the wife, he's like talking
Yeah.
to the wife and saying like, "You gotta get rid of your
That's
no
a scene
forgotten
from Tommy
husband." Yeah,
Knockers.
that's like exactly in Tommy Knockers. Yeah, Jimmy Smits, and I believe in that movie he falls out a window.
Oh, I haven't seen
It's a
the
mini-
movie.
it's
I've
a-
only
it's a
read the
miniseries.
558-page book that Stephen King wrote very high.
and probably doesn't remember writing.
Yeah, I think he says the only one he doesn't remember writing is
Cujo.
Cujo, yeah.
because he was too drunk.
It's pretty amazing.
Jeez, I wish I could write a book like
Yeah,
that.
and like not even remember something and have it made into a
and it's like
movie.
a classic that everybody loves.
I
It's
know.
like, what the hell?
That's insane.
Yeah, so this is it's really funny. His freak out in the it's like Jay's Dairy Freeze. It's called. If you
Yeah.
look at all the signage on the outside, it's like
I'm sure that's a beloved institution.
burger special this week. It's like burger, fries, and soft drink.
Yeah, what is it called? I wonder if that's still in Mississauga.
It looks. It
I
looks
don't know.
good. It felt kind of Canadian because they were advertising souvlaki on one of the signs.
Is that a Canadian thing?
No, but I just have a feel like that wouldn't be in like an American small town. You know.
All we have is American
Yeah,
fries
they probably
here.
don't have souvlaki.
Try
Just
serving
guessing.
that in a small town.
Like or the Midwest say they
Souvlaki.
maybe not. But
yeah,
here we got a.
I got
great
really
community.
sad because it was like burger, fries, and soft drink for like $2.99.
Yeah.
Well, I would recommend going to Square Boy at
On
Donlands and
Danforth.
Danforth. Yeah,
Yeah.
$5, pop, fries, and a
it's a place just like
Hamburger.
in this movie. Like,
Really?
and the
yeah.
price
And they do
They
souvlaki
also have
too.
souvlaki because it's Greek
I
town.
feel like all the Canadian diners had souvlaki as well,
Yeah.
or the grills that you'd go to.
I totally think so. But yeah, so he freaks out in the back and he starts seeing like what looks like blood come out. And I was like, whoa, that's just like the soda, syrup is leaking. No, it's blood.
Yeah, and they have like tentacles coming out of the boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
He makes his way to the front to like the cashier. His freak out is so funny
Yeah,
because
he's on the counter.
he's like kicking at something that's invisible. So
Colin, I have an update. That diner used to be on Dundas and the Junction of
Really?
Oh
Toronto.
my God, really?
Yeah.
So that's
It's a
where they shot it?
surprise, surprise. Tim Hortons now.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
and they still sell souvlaki.
them's the rules.
Yeah. But yeah, so then our favorite bearded man comes and hauls him away.
Yeah, he says,
and,
I'm a nurse, and then he just injects him with something. It's like, his parents signed the waiver forms.
Yeah, and like his girlfriend is kind of annoying, but she doesn't have like anything to do for the rest of the movie except going, Jim, no, ah.
Hey,
like,
she kind of, gets the other friend to go bust him out of the PRI.
That's true. She does. She is proactive here, and he's the mullet friend. He's very unsure that he wants to do this, but she does convince him to do it. So good for her.
Yeah. I was laughing at this building, the sci-fi building, which is really fun to look at. I don't know what it looks like. This weird UFO submarine. It has like portholes and stuff on it. But even like the mechanical room in the back where all the pipes are and stuff looks so like 50s sci-fi. It's very fun.
It's an old engine room, kind of.
I don't know. Yeah, so
it's a room where the brain eats people.
Yeah, well, it's about the only room that's big enough to fit it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're so the girlfriend and the mullet friend break into the PRI, and then the friend is killed by the brain.
Yeah,
immediately.
That brain is so gooey, like it's so slimy.
Yeah,
like
it's really
it's
gross.
wet.
Yeah,
yeah.
Which is
is usually a rule that producers tell horror filmmakers not to do.
Why
Really?
not?
Yeah, I remember hearing this on the commentary for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Platinum Doom remake.
Mm-hmm.
They told the director Uli Lamel, you can't do wet, you can't do like gooey.
Why?
You got to do dry. And he's like, it's true. People don't like gooey. They find it unattractive in a way that they don't want that reaction when watching a horror film.
What?
I think I would. I mean, they're both. You don't want it too
Brian
dry.
Yuzna's like, I made my career on gooey.
I know.
What are you
It's like,
talking
if
about?
you make it too dry, to me, it just looks like it's
Fake.
going to like fall apart.
Yeah, it just looks like rubber.
like peel apart. Yeah,
Yeah, this thing looks like it's been hosed down with KY jelly. Like,
Yep.
probably
From a
has.
big
Yeah.
It's kind of smart that it has that big spinal cord, so clearly like someone in a suit can like stand in it and
Yeah.
control
Yeah.
the brain that way.
yeah, it kind of looks like, wasn't there like a David Dakota movie, The Eye, Killer Eye?
Killer Eye.
Yeah,
Yes.
it looks like that, but way
little
bigger
better.
and much
Yes, yes.
much,
Just a
much
little
better.
better than the
In
Killer
the Killer
Eye.
Eye 2, they sit and watch the Killer Eye, the first one, for 20 minutes.
Oh my
God.
god.
Shameless.
How dare you? How dare you? So the girlfriend and Jim break out, and we have one of the many car chases in this movie.
To
Yeah.
live and die in Canada, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Exactly.
I wrote down To Live and Die in Mississauga because holy God, there's another one later on in the movie that just goes on for so long.
And it's set to music that's supposed to be kind of 80s exciting music, but I mean, it's got nothing on that Wang Chung soundtrack.
Oh man. Yeah.
So we just recently rewatched. Sorry, I watched for the first time. You rewatched To Live and Die in L.A. because R.I.P. William Friedkin. What a great movie!
Yeah, it's really good.
It was so much fun, and I have seen hardly any Friedkins. I think I've obviously seen The Exorcist, and then not too long ago we randomly watched Cruisin'. But I think those are the only two Friedkins I may have ever seen. So now
You never seen Jade?
Oh,
The
that's
Guardian?
next.
That's
Jade,
next.
Jade is next. But we watched To Live or Die L.A. and then
Wait,
the other
Jade is
night,
next? That movie's not good.
I want to watch it. And then we watched Sorcerer.
Killer
Yeah.
Joe?
Sorcerer.
Killer Joe. I've seen The French Connection. Sorcerer.
Oh, I wanna see The French Connection.
Sorcerer was on sale, so I just bought it on iTunes.
Oh, Sorcerer rules.
Watched it.
That was great.
Bought it years ago on iTunes. Never watched it until like last night.
2 nights ago.
2 nights ago.
Yeah.
And it was great.
We did a great double feature: Sorcerer and Freddy Got Fingered. It was
Finally, you'll
quite
be able
the
to
night.
watch that episode of The Simpsons when Homer owns a plow thing, and you'll recognize the references.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Such a good movie. Jesus Christ.
He's so good at doing car stuff, though, and he always pretty much pulls back the score so there's no music happening at all, and you just hear the engines like roaring, and it just rackets the tension up so much in both To Live and Die and Sorcerer.
Sorcerer, that bridge scene was terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know how the fuck they filmed that because it looks like the whole
I know.
thing
It
is.
was
It's
probably
like
very dangerous, according to
Yes.
people that worked with Friedkin.
Yeah,
They lost like 20 crew members today.
Yeah.
But we have been looking up a lot of his like YouTube interviews and stuff, which
Oh,
are
the-
so fucking funny.
They're the best.
Friedkin became a real like grandpa, like
Yeah.
film grandpa at the end of his life. Because if you read Easy Riders, Raging Bulls,
Yeah.
he was a monstrous individual
Yeah.
at his height. But near the end of his career, making fun of Nicholas Winding Refn, love it. So
It's
funny.
Great. So good. He's good at like putting people into their place.
Yes.
There was this one great interview. It was probably when The Exorcist came out. And the guy's like, some people say, you took some of the more exploitative things in the book. And he's like, well, first of all, who said that? He's like, well, some reviewers have said, well, which ones? And he's like,
What are their names?
What are their names? Because I've never heard that. And the guy gets really flustered. It's great. And some of his cute. He's a great raconteur, and he tells like really funny stories.
Yeah, we really lost a treasure. I hate that this is a reality of life, but this is giving me an excuse to go back and revisit.
He
and
still
watch
has
his
one
movies.
movie left that hasn't come out.
Yeah, I think I saw that on his IMDb.
It's starring Jason Clarke, the ultimate cuck, and
Jason Clarke. Yeah. Oh,
yes.
you said cuck, and then I knew who you meant.
Wait, which movie is it?
it's the Kane Mount Mutiny Court Martial.
That's right.
Okay, because
we were talking about this.
Yeah,
it looks like it
Guillermo-
stars Kiefer Sutherland. Lance Reddick is in it too. The fact that it opened out of competition at Cannes does not say too much good of the movie, but hey, you get another one to go out on, so he's got that.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro had this huge tweet thread where he was talking that...
watching him direct, right?
He sat with him the entire time he directed the whole thing because he just
Did he
wanted to-
shoot it in like a couple days? That's what it sounded like.
He said
then.
it had like no budget and they were only allowed like one take.
Holy shit.
Like they could only do one take because that's all they could afford.
That's insane.
And then Guillermo just told a story about how one big actor was having trouble.
Kiefer Sutherland, let's be honest.
He didn't say. He just said some big actor, and he was having trouble with like delivering a line. He kept flubbing one of the words, and the crew was just really tense because it was like into the third take at this point, and then Friedkin kind of talked.
Did they shoot it on film?
I have no idea.
Huh.
I would guess no.
It
but,
must have been just a time thing.
You know.
They
Yeah,
had
just
to
a
move
time
on.
thing.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
Kiefer Sutherland keeps coming up in our lives and on this podcast.
Does he? How does he? When's the last time Kiefer Sutherland came up? Other than the wild, of
In our
course.
lives?
Marmaduke.
Oh, yeah, that's right. In our lives, you like meet him on the
He
street.
showed up in They Cloned Tyrone, a movie we
Oh,
watched.
yeah,
the other
that's
day.
right. I didn't watch
Brand-
that entire
brand new
movie.
well, like he shows up like halfway through, and we were like, "Whoa!" because we had just seen Marmaduke. So
Yeah.
There's the dog from Marmaduke.
yeah,
He's turned into a human.
Roscoe.
There was that
Do you
movie.
think, does Kiefer Sutherland still hang around at his home and native land?
I think so.
I don't know.
Even though he was born in London, England.
Yeah.
He's just seems so. He's in so many Canadian things, right? But
Yeah, I have no idea.
But didn't they shoot 24 here?
No, I don't
No,
know.
No.
Oh, I thought maybe that was like a Vancouver.
No.
No?
I really don't think so.
Anyway,
He is Canadian, though, just in case you
He
were
is,
wondering.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there's stories that I've heard. I think it was on Pompeii where he like plays the emperor. I don't know, of like Rome or something.
Okay.
It's just so bizarre. And I'd heard.
Oh, you heard stories? You're just going to leave it at that? You're like,
Okay, yeah.
stories.
No, I heard funny stories. I don't know from who or if these are just.
Has Kiefer Sutherland struggled with perhaps the,
Yes.
But-
Well, so these are just allegations.
Allegedly.
Yes. He would ride around on his chariot with like the horses and stuff with like a bottle of Jack Daniels. Like
Oh,
he'd just
God.
be wasted like all the time and like would just plow through everybody in this chariot.
Too bad it wasn't like Canadian rye. I mean, that would have been more appropriate. You got a bottle of Wisers there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's knocking back like Molson.
I'm just like picture like these poor effects artists like having to paint out the JD bottle from his hand. Like,
from his hand. Oh, that's right. He was arrested for DUI charges 4 times between 1987 and 2007.
oh yeah, and then there's that
Lordy.
video of him like jumping through the Christmas tree at like the hotel.
Right.
I
That
don't
was a
know.
famous
Have
one.
I seen that?
It's really funny. He's like, I'm going to jump through the Christmas tree or something. And then he just runs up and like tackles the big Christmas tree in like a hotel lobby.
Okay, need to see that.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Related to this movie because it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Back to the brain.
Oh, yeah.
A masterful segue.
Like the third act of this movie again is just they go from kind of one location to another. He does ditch his car like over a cliff, which is kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, hey, it's snowy now.
Yeah.
It's Christmas.
They mention Christmas a little bit, but it's not like a plot point.
No,
They
you
have
just,
sex in the labs. Oh, no, in the school.
yeah, it's just in the background. You see people's Christmas trees in their living room. And then I think
Yeah.
when he goes to the research institute, they have like a by the front desk. They have like a
Yeah, the
Christmas tree.
diner has
Yeah.
Christmas lights on it. I feel like they shot around the Christmas season because you can see them driving down the street and there's
Yeah.
Christmas lights on a bunch of houses.
Yeah, I think that stuff was already there.
Yeah.
I don't think they would
It was
spend
just
money
there,
trying to
yeah.
make it Christmas.
Now we can talk about that scene we mentioned earlier where the wife kills her husband in kind of
Oh,
a
yeah.
hilarious way. He's out. This guy is, I think, one of the teachers at the school that he puts the glue on his
Yeah,
butt.
he's like that.
Yeah.
Look at that asshole.
Yeah,
That's
But
right.
he's drinking Molson's and he's building a weird
Are
elevated.
they stubby boys? This is the true Canadian.
I don't think so. I think they were the long necks.
He's
But
building a square deck
Right in the middle.
right in the middle of his backyard.
Not
So
even
it's
attached to anything.
Not attached to
No.
anything. It's just in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, what? Why would they do this? What is this for? And when you actually look at them, it doesn't look like any of the boards are like nailed down. They're just
No.
all like wobbly.
They
and
definitely
whatever.
set that up on Apple boxes early in the morning.
Oh, for sure. I'm
maybe
like,
he's building a dock.
but then it's revealed his wife is like watching the TV, and David Gale is like, get rid of your husband.
He's saying he has to watch the show.
Yeah.
If he doesn't watch the show, you know what you have to do.
And he's kind of just like, he's cutting logs. He's standing on the deck cutting logs with an electric chainsaw. And she comes
Drinking
out,
beers.
She comes out and grabs the chainsaw, and then they do the old thing where his head is poking out, and then
Yeah, that's why they built the
a
whole
dummy
thing, and it has
body.
no
Yeah.
bottom,
Yeah.
so he can put
He,
his
like-
head underneath the thing.
chainsaws his stomach, and then like the legs are moving, but
If
it's
you
a
look,
dummy.
they tried to like cover it up by like there's just like logs that
Yeah.
are laid
Oh,
up,
okay.
Like
across
loose
the
logs.
bottom.
his body
Yeah.
looks like it's just a bunch of fabric stuffed with cotton or something.
Yeah, it's
looks
once
so
you on
fake.
scrutiny, it's not great, but I do love a dummy in his head.
Yeah, and he's screaming.
Legs
Yeah.
are flailing. It's hilarious. So there you go.
So speaking of severed heads, we can go to the finale basically.
Well,
yeah,
we can't
it's
skip the sex scene where the skeleton watches them.
Oh, yeah.
Was there a skeleton watching them?
Yeah, because they have sex in the high school, and the
Yeah.
brain's like, "Arr, arr," and for some reason it's watching through like one of those, high school science lab skeletons, and the skeleton kind of turns and looks, and it's like, "Arr."
I didn't get that. Interesting.
And then the
but
brain seemingly dresses the guy.
Yeah,
and then because
yeah.
he wakes up all dressed up.
all of a sudden he wakes up in a different area, like fully dressed. So like, what happened there?
Oh.
Like I'm not. We're not supposed to.
Do you think he was hypnotized and he made love to the brain?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Or like he.
It cuts to like the reverse shot.
But he's
and then,
not supposed to be affected by the brain at this point, so
That's right,
It's
yeah. You
never
confusing,
know.
but she is. So but then she is in the library watching a TV. Good thing they had a TV in the library, right?
They did back then.
I guess. And
9/11 has happened. That's where you see it in the TV at the library.
I'm waiting for like he's looking at his girlfriend, and then it cuts, and it's like the brain with like lipstick on, like
like
it's like
gremlin.
the sexy gremlin.
yeah.
exactly.
But so yeah, she's brainwashed. She's under
You
the
look a
brain
little
spell.
different.
She says you're a murderer, and then he's like, "Oh man!" So he has to run away.
Another chase.
and he runs. More chasing. And
There's
he
another
goes to the
car that
lab.
crashes off a hill, like the snowiest hill around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real like going down the road vibes where he like runs into a parking lot. It's like the big city.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, you see like I don't know, Toronto off in the distance, like
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was looking. Is it Toronto? Because the CN Tower would be there. You see big smokestacks. Maybe it is
maybe
Mississauga.
it's Mississauga.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But holy shit, when they show earlier the scene where this guy's starting his day and he's driving to school and he's leaving his like suburb,
Yeah.
that is like the bleakest looking place to
Street?
live. Jesus
Well, it looks
Christ.
like it was just built like a year before.
That's
like
a Canadian suburb.
anytime
my
I think of
friend.
Mississauga, that's all
I know
it
we
is.
lived in a small town suburb that had just been built in Castleman when I
Yeah,
was
it's
a
just
kid.
these like cookie cutter homes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sky is so bleak looking. Everything is beige and gray. And
It,
it's like,
it still looks like that, and that's how it looked
still
like in the
does.
60s.
Yeah.
And it's like, look how bad it is. It's like, yeah,
but
it's still
there's
like
no there's no like skyline, like there's nothing beyond the houses. It looks like there's just houses in the middle of nowhere, and that's
that.
exactly
Yeah.
what fucking
And now we
Mississauga
have
is.
giant condo buildings we could look at.
Yeah, exactly.
In Toronto, yeah, but like in the smaller cities outside of Toronto, like where I grew up, like that is what suburbs look like. You have the green electricity boxes, and
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just like, this looks
And
like
they're
where I grew
vibrating,
up.
and you're like, roll around on it.
Yeah, they're
sure,
like
okay.
humming.
We'd always say, "Meet me at the green box," when you're
Yeah.
riding bikes with your
Are they
friends.
still around, or did they
I'm
put them in the
pretty sure.
ground
I
or
don't know
something
why
like
they
that?
would get
So.
rid of them.
Did
But
you-
yeah,
It just brought back these memories. I'm like, oh my god,
it's nostalgia and not in a good way.
No,
No, bad.
it just looks so.
I don't
bleak.
want that.
You can have bad nostalgia too.
There's just it's just so characterless. I don't know. I just don't like it. It's
But
gross.
anyway, so they're It's not.
Well,
There's a big like
it's like the town.
live taping.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, they're all hypnotized. They're all like,
But why are they all
the
why are
brain."
they there to get more brainwaves?
I don't know.
I guess.
Maybe to fill up the audience. So like the whole town is pretty much drawn to the PRI and like David
Shooting
Gale.
the TV show.
Gale's doing his speech. Yeah. So then the Jim sneaks back in and then rescues his girlfriend from some, I don't know.
Which is not
Torture
explained.
chamber?
She's just she's like chained up with like dead bodies around her, and like I don't know what that is. If it was a scene cut or did I just miss something? I
I
don't
think
know.
she just-
It's not
yeah.
important. So
He was about to shoot some Videodrome.
yeah, exactly.
It's giving me that vibe. It's got like a kind of Cronenberg vibe
It's like
to it.
Cronenberg, like extra light though.
Cheap.
No, just like not as fucked up.
Oh yeah, big time. But then he confronts Gale on his like talk show, and then he like punches his head off.
Yeah, and he's walking around with an axe. I was like, oh, he's gonna chop his head off. No, he just punches it and it
punches
comes
him.
off.
Yeah, and it's like
Which is
all
pretty
this
fun.
green goop. Like he's like, see, he's not even real. He's not a human.
It looks great.
Yeah, it's really gross. But then you get the shot of the actor. They're doing the thing again where his head is just poking through the floor. He's doing some.
He's like, I can't believe I'm doing this again after Reanimator. Like, I did a whole movie of this.
That's why we
his
hired you,
thing.
sir. Now do the acting.
They're like,
Sorry,
we already
you're the
have the
best."
hole that you can put your head through, so we don't have to build it again.
And it's especially designed for your head, sir.
And he's
so-
like, it's not my first rodeo.
yeah.
Show me where the hole in the floor is.
Show me where the head hole is. Let's go.
Just point me towards the head
Yes,
hole.
over to the head hole. He's showing that other guy on his fake deck in this backyard how to
Yeah, how to
Yeah,
do
he's
it.
like he's the head specialist.
He's like, let
Yeah.
an old pro show you how
that was
it's
actually
done.
his head in that deck thing. He was a stunt head because
I'm thinking they would bring
was a
him on.
we were
stand-in.
watching it. He's like, he's not doing it right.
They
Get
would-
me in there.
Yeah,
give me a wig.
They'd bring him on as like the consultant. So like, Anthony Daniels is now like doing all the consulting he's training all the new droid actors and the Star Wars things.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
I'm sure he's training all the new droid actors.
Quote unquote, whatever. It's like, we'll put you on a lifelong salary just to hang around.
Also, you have to appear in C-3PO no matter what happens.
Yes.
You
can't-
get in that, you're going to die in that robot.
Can't
They
be-
open that robot and Kenny Baker fell out, and that's going to happen to you too.
So it's a skeleton. It's like you cannot be seen in the public without wearing the C-3PO outfit.
Oh,
Anytime.
That's your. It's like, well, what if I have to go to the bathroom in public?
sorry.
It's like, wear the fucking
I
outfit.
have no mouth, but I'm a scream.
Help me. You better piss in that thing.
I wonder when the last time Anthony Daniels was in the C-3PO outfit. Probably decades ago, right?
No, I'm sure he was in it. You don't think he was in it in Rise of Skywalker?
Don't think so.
Really?
I don't even think he was in it in the Force Awakens.
no, I think he did it for like a day on set. Like
Yeah,
for
like to
fun.
take promotional photos,
Yeah.
and then
And then they just CG the mask over his head or something.
it's all CG. Like,
Yeah.
isn't the funny thing that like the story goes that Frank Oz showed up for The Last Jedi, and they were like, "Hey, you want to do the puppet?" He was like, "Wait, what? I guess." Like, I didn't expect to. I thought I was going to do the voice.
Hey, might as well. You got him there.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Frank Oz, I'd be like, "I'm old. Don't make me duck under this."
I would say, hey, I'll sign that contract. You get me pay me for acting. I'll do it.
Yeah, that's right. Not just I don't think the puppeteers are unionized though.
Yeah,
so I
exactly.
think
It's like,
that-
hey,
They should be though.
Yep, they should. Everything should be unionized.
Well, actually, I read
Which
something.
brings me to the unionization of no such thing as a bad movie.
I read something that the actors, the puppeteers, actually were unionized and got paid as actors when they performed.
They were. That's great.
And then they're like, oh, that's why the producers want everything like switched to CGI, is because then
Oh my god!
because then they don't have to pay them residuals or something like actors.
Fuck
And
off!
They're just doing the voice.
Every
I don't
day
know.
I'm just
that's what I
hearing
heard. I don't know
worse
if
and
it's
worse
true.
things.
Like I
about
just
these
heard the
executives.
delightful Netflix show Nailed It that I watched was shut down because
no.
the crew tried to unionize and they canceled the show with only 4 episodes out of 8 recorded because they'd rather do that than let them unionize.
Oh God,
Cool.
sets the precedent.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Well,
conclude the brain.
the brain.
So the
remember-
only thing left is
Remember that sodium that we
yes.
brought up at the beginning?
So they're
of the
running
movie?
around like the basement of this lab, and every wall is covered in danger, sodium levels, sodium causes
Sodium in
explosions.
use.
Literally or is it just the same wall that they just shot multiple
Probably.
times? And so the giant brain is coming towards them.
It's a good chase
the
scene.
size of a wall.
It's like it's like real. It's on some rollers going down that.
yeah.
A tentacle is like coming out, and he's like bashing it with like something, and it's not doing anything. And then he gets the idea at the last second to put pour a thing of sodium in its mouth. And because we mentioned that it was wet, it goes boom, and it's a pretty cool explosion.
Yeah, it's a good goopy explosion.
Yeah.
But does that mean the end of the brain?
Is it?
Is it? Well, we get a nice little conclusion of him with his parents. Everyone is no longer brainwashed. He
God.
gets into Princeton, and he's about to go pick up his girl.
And you're like, come on, something's off here, man. It's like the end of Nightmare on Elm Street when he wakes up.
Yeah, exactly.
The mother,
Okay, but this ending makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's just a shot of the brain coming towards you. It's not like it's
like
in
a
the
triangle,
scene. Yeah.
like the Pink Floyd triangle, like
a
opening
triangle
up
wedge.
on screen.
It
And the
reminded
brain
me-
is on screen for so long. It's like you'll cut yet?
It's like the ending of a Blumhouse movie,
Yeah,
like
it's
a
like
Bagul or
the
what
stinger.
have you. Yeah.
gotta set you up for
Did you
the
guys
sequel.
read the credits at the end?
No.
That said, warning, the washroom scene is a dramatic representation.
Oh, yeah,
Combining
that.
sodium and water may cause serious injury. Do not attempt it! 3 exclamation points.
Yeah.
That would be dangerous.
Well, then you're just going to have to attempt it because that's what
Can you
kids
just
do.
buy sodium?
I don't
Probably
know.
can, right?
I don't know. But this YouTube channel that I was watching, I don't know if he was like a scientist. He looked like some redneck guy. He was just throwing chunks of it into like this lake.
Oh, you can just buy it on Amazon.
oh shit!
Yeah,
but like,
it's-
what's the practical use for it?
I'm sure there's something.
In chemistry, I guess.
Just
Yeah.
for at-home chemists.
Who knows?
I guess it's
Don't-
not a controlled substance.
It should be because it's so fucking explosive. You can't even
Yeah.
touch it. You're not even supposed to touch it with your hands in case your hands are wet or like you start sweating.
Shit.
Yeah,
It's like nitroglycerin.
yeah, it's
The new version of Sorcerer, you're going through the Canadian
Yeah.
winter and you're carrying a bunch of sodium.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it's like the
Jostle it.
rainy season. Oh.
Gotta
Yeah.
bring it back to Sorcerer. Anyway, so that's The Brain. The Brain is available on
The Brain.
Yeah.
iTunes. That's
Yeah.
where we watched it.
It's a
Because
pretty good,
Scream Factory put it out on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good restoration. It looks good.
It is a good restoration, and this movie has been made fun of by other. I think it was on Mystery Science Theater and other things like that over the years.
Was it? Really?
Yeah, I was reading about that in the trivia. It's not that bad. It's definitely not the greatest, but it's definitely like if you want to watch like a dumb like horror sci-fi that is somewhat Christmas related, because a lot of people are looking for that around the
Christmas
holidays.
adjacent.
I would recommend this. It has some fun puppetry. The second half is not as fun as the first
It's
half.
a lot of car chases.
So it's definitely maybe one that you could like maybe chat through kind of while it's and then pay attention to the good parts. But it's got all the ingredients are there,
yeah, it just needs to have something more going on, I think, in the story.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the Canadianness as we
Yeah.
all often do. And yeah, so that's The Brain. If you want to email the podcast, we're at no such thing as a bad movie @gmail.com.
If you want to support the podcast, join the Patreon.
Yeah.
That's right. Please join the Patreon if you want
I
more
was looking at the
content.
numbers, looking a little feeble. We're dying.
We need the brain on this podcast.
We just passed 300 patrons. Yeah, we need
Not enough. We should have 1,000 Patreon subscribers.
Yeah,
Well-
we need the brain as a guest on our next episode so we can convince
Well,
some people
Patreon
to sign up.
exclusive.
Didn't we talk about this, April, that we're going to do the stuff that people love?
That's right. We're going to introduce like more polls, and sometime soon we're going to do a Q&A episode. So we'll put the question out on our Patreon, so people can submit their questions, and then we'll do a little exclusive episode for that.
Was it movie related? It was just basically anything.
Oh no,
last time,
anything.
right?
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be movie related.
Yeah.
So yeah, consider joining the Patreon. If you're on the $5 level, you'll get exclusive content like that. Also, over 100 mini episodes that we do on usually newer movies. Next one coming out is going to be on the new Australian horror movie Talk to Me, and also, as I mentioned before, if you're a $2 level and up, you get submitted to the lottery, and you could be like Eric and get to pick an episode for us to talk about on the main feed. So wouldn't you like to do that?
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay!
So you can also find us on Twitter, and we're on Blue Sky now, and Instagram at
Too many social medias.
I
Let some of them
know.
collapse.
I know.
Twitter.
And No Such Thing Pod. And I am on all those places at April at Mansky.
You can find me on DeClueJ on, I think I use the same thing everywhere. So I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on Twitter, Facebook. Don't follow me on Facebook. I never check that. And every week on the Important Cinema Club and No Such Thing as a Bad Movie and the Very Fine Comic Book Podcast. Check it out.
You can follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky, I think it's Sergeant Zima, SGTZIMA, and Instagram.
And that's it. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy your summer, because
fall's coming.
Yeah,
this is like a fall transition film.
But yeah, exactly. It's like, oh man, right now it's like the hottest point in the summer right now. But pretty soon it's going to be fall,
it's the dog days of
it's going to be
summer.
Halloween, and then maybe we'll do something fun for Halloween. Probably horror movies.
That's my guess.
What's that? What's that off in the distance? Oh.
No. But yeah, thank you for joining us. I'm April Atmansky.
I'm Justin DeClue.
I'm Colin Cunningham.
And remember, there's no such thing as a bad movie.